we are rolling. This is probably the video I've been most excited about doing all year long. I'm hardcore in honor of these women that have joined us. Charity, we have gotten to know each other over this last year, and my heart just goes out to you. It goes out to you who you are both professionally and just as a human. And
thank you.
You help run an organization called Level. And with that, you actually, I was blessed to meet you through a mutual friend, and that is the owner of Level, Clint. And from there is Chrixy. Give me a break. Come on, you hang out with me. Chrixy and I, Chrixy actually works on my team, and we've been working together since kind of the last days of December, I think it was.
It was December last year.
And Chrixy has a hard time doing a video without at least inviting
I'm
one,
sorry.
two,
Hi.
or three cats.
Say hello to
and
the
I'm
camera.
I'm 100% for it. I'm all for it. And Squirrel is at my feet as well. So you both know why I asked you to do this video. I don't want a video that only speaks to, and we're going to dive into my biggest pet peeve right away, is using the word virtual assistant. I'm just not a fan of it. I think it has a connotation about it, and people walk into it as soon as they say virtual assistant, they already have a mindset around that. So I do get in this video, the phrase virtual assistant may pop up from time to time because it's a little bit culturally what we're kind of used to at this point. Chrixy, what do I typically like to think of virtual assistants as, and how do I label them, or how do I, what phrase is more common with me?
Well, we just started talking about it recently, but it's already being ingrained into our culture and Cultivate Wins, and hopefully in bigger scope, it also affects it. We want to call people who are working as virtual assistants in a better term, which is
remote partner. And you cut out right at the end there. It is remote partner. I don't think of anybody that works with me, or that I work with, or works on my team, or that I network with as my assistant. Okay, I'm working in partnership. I don't lead through giving task lists and everything. I lead through empowering people, and that I consider Chrixy every bit as important in this organization as I am. And Chrixy, what is your title?
Creative partner. So
creative partner.
I was never called a VA. I was never called a VA ever since I started working with David.
Yeah, she's never been called a VA unless I have to use as an example for someone else, because they're like, what's your creative partner? And they think that it's someone that, you know, either works in my office or right down the street. It's very rare for me to use the phrase VA unless I am forced to use it. So just so that you know, in this video, if you hear some of these terminology and it's thrown around, it's just the way that we talk in our culture around Cultivate Wins. But for the average culture out there, they've heard the phrase VA. So we'll just get that out of the way right up front. I asked you guys if you could take two different approaches on this video, and if after this introduction, we could make sure that I don't talk the rest of the video, or as little as possible. This is about you guys, not me. And so here's what I asked you guys, is I had asked you a very simple question, and I don't know what you're going to be sharing today, is if each of you could share 3 things, or up to 3 things, with the person that is trying to be hired or has been hired as a VA or remote partner, what would you want to share with them? Opposite of that, if you could share 3 things with the person that's doing the hiring, the person that's doing the training, the person that's doing the leading of their VA or remote partner, what would you want to share with them? Now, Charity, I do want to start with you. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
I was waiting for
Actually, I'm very excited to have this conversation to David, because I've been it's been my mission, my personal mission, to share my story as well. For when I started working as a remote partner in 2014. So it was never easy, but I think it all started when a partner from the US trusted me, trusted that I can do things and that I can help them. Maybe I want to start with, points, or three things, or the things that I'd like to share with VAs, I'm
Sure.
sorry, remote
And that's
partners.
okay, whatever you're comfortable with.
Sorry about that.
And by the
But
way,
yeah.
Charity, you just said one other thing, and I'm just going to point it out for anybody that didn't hear that, is the amount of times that I do speak to someone that is in the VA community. And almost every time that they would talk about, whether it be me or someone else that they've worked for, they use the phrase and the language client. Okay.
Yes.
And I find that very interesting, rather than partner or anything else like that, is they are working for clients, as if there's a different distinction of where they see themselves on that client's team. And that just hurts my soul like nobody's business. So I just want to point that out, that's even when we talk about this community, language matters. It really does matter. And it really sets the tone of how we truly are feeling internally, comes out with our language too. So I just wanted to point that out, but thank you.
Of course. So yeah, it all started when a partner from the US, trusted me to help them out, grow their business. So I think I would like to start there, because I don't know if a lot of people knows, but I don't think they don't, because I am a registered medical technologist by profession.
Okay.
So it's really too far from what I'm doing right now. And I think what the first point that I'd like to share with a remote partner, those that are already working, or those who wants to aspire, who is aspiring to be a remote partner, is first, be open to learn, and upgrade your skills, and be welcoming of constructive criticisms. Accept that there are things that you still need to learn and can still learn. Though once you have put yourself in that position, you are limitless. As a remote partner, you are limitless, right, Chrixy?
I agree. I totally agree. It's very interesting, because one of the points that I prepared was also about self-improvement. So I totally see the impact and the influence it has on not just remote partners, but basically everyone. When you're open to expanding your skills and learning a lot of things, it basically makes you limitless. So I can continue further with my point, but it's connected with my first point. So I'm gonna stop there and let you continue with your other point.
No, you're good. I just whenever I talk to partners in the US, as you know, I constantly have those communication. I always tell them that, the limit that you give your remote partners here in the Philippines is actually the limit that you give yourself. The level of confidence that you give them gives them the limit of what they can do for you.
I like how you worked in the company name, the level of confidence. Nice. Well done.
Thank you. I didn't notice that, David. But yeah, I mean that's the first point, I guess, that I want to share with aspiring remote partners out there. Once you are given the chance, to show your partners in the US or whatever part of the world would it be, is to self-improvement, continue honing your skills. Do not limit yourself to what you already know, because there will be times that you are given an opportunity to shine. There might be things that that you think you can't do, but you can. I mean, I myself, I don't deal with Excel, I don't deal with Google Sheet. I mean, I draw blood from people because I'm a medical technologist. But, when I was presented with the opportunity, to learn this stuff, I embrace them, because I just feel that it's going to help me. And then that also is connected to the second thing that I'd like to also share to remote partners out there is to genuinely care for your client. Uh, I've been carrying that since day one that I have started working from home, is that, you know, I genuinely and, wholeheartedly, not just treated them as someone that I work with or worked for, but I treated them as family, and I care for them. And because when you start caring for someone, you care for them in a whole, as a whole, in totality, should I say? Meaning, you care for them in a way that what I'm doing matters. What I'm doing matters, and it creates an impact to them. And if I don't do this task, it will greatly affect them.
Yep.
So I would like to share it to people that I think starting to care and caring, genuinely really brings up a lot of good things in you. And then I think lastly would be to give value to the work that you do. You're not just there to do the task for the sake of doing it. Know why you are doing it, because that makes you more efficient. That shows your client that you are interested, that you are not just there to check that task on the task list, right? But you're there to you are observing, and you are looking into things that you might be able to help your partner with. And yeah, I mean, those are the three things that I think are really the main points that I'd like to share with a remote partner. I mean, based from my experience, me who started with with zero knowledge of all of this. But yeah, I mean, I hope those points help.
Okay, so in a moment, Chrixy, I'm going to ask for a little bit of your input on that, and you may give none, because you may say, actually, my three answers are going to kind of answer some of that. So before I ask you to share with us, not everybody knows, Charity, what happens in the background as well. Okay, so there is something that Chrixy knows me very, very well in this point of view. Is I'm just not into really teaching, preaching, or talking in theory. Okay, I really like to talk about things that I have deep-rooted experience in, real life experience. Now, the reason why I bring that up is because of this. I need people to know what they don't know about you, so that this has real impact. And what they don't know about you is that everything that you just said, and I'm just going to list all three of them. I was taking so many notes. I don't even know why I'm taking notes. This is my video. I can go back and watch it as many times as I want, but I'm so into what you're saying. Willing to learn. And I basically wrote, step up and take personal growth seriously. Okay. Number two, care for your clients. My translation, what I wrote, based on our experience together, is what you were speaking on is real live compassion in action. Okay. And create impact was another thing that you said. You used the word impact rather than inspire or influence. Impact, having a real impact on someone's life. Third thing that you said is give value to the work that you do. Know why you are doing what you are doing. So here's what people don't know about you. Not only did you just share these 3 points, but maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago, you wanted to do a call and you reached out to me to do a call.
Yes.
And
that's right.
You were trying to grow in all 3 of these areas. I had no idea you were going to bring these 3 areas up today. But those that don't know Charity, she's just not here to show or to share 3 simple points. These 3 simple points that she just made aren't simple. They take real work, and you have to be willing to do a deep dive and put the real work in to make these three a reality and bring real value to both your lives and your partner's lives. And the fact is that Charity knew there may be someone that can help me. And so she seeks out the help. She doesn't just hope that she's going to be more compassionate. She doesn't hope that she will become better at what she does. She actually reaches out and takes the action to make these things part of her reality. And that's why I appreciate what you shared, because I had no idea what you were going to share. And there are things that you just shared that I've actually seen you reaching out on a regular basis and taking on personally to grow in all three of those areas. So that was, I got impacted when you were saying them maybe a little harder than the average person, because I know what's happening in the background with you and how much work, legitimate work, you are putting in on all three of those in real time, in real life. And that was, you just had an impact on me, because what you wanted to share wasn't theory. This is literally what you're doing. That's huge.
Thank you, David.
Yeah, that's
Thank
huge. To me.
you.
Love that. Love it, love it, love it, love it. All right, Chrixy.
Yes, that concludes
turn,
the call.
girl.
Just kidding.
That'll end the call. Thank you, everybody. Fantastic.
I'm just kidding. So I totally love and I resonate fully with what Charity has shared, and she has way more experience than me. Although we might have like variations in terms of like how we understood the experiences and stuff, but basically I entered the remote work 5 years ago, so 6 years ago. So I actually started part-time. I graduated as a journalism student, so at least in my case I was in the communication side, so
Yeah.
it's not a full
You
job,
are.
it's a different industry. So I started as a part-time, and my mindset then was totally different from my mindset right now. I was looking for clients, I was embracing the term VA, and I was just checking out the task list. And thankfully, I was fully blessed to work with partners who were also mentors. So everything that I am able to share right now is all thanks to my mentors and my partners in the past few years. So I just wanted to give them the time in this video to like to say thank you to all of them. And with that, I wanted to share one of Cultivate Win's teaching, that whenever we talk about something, we want it to be a reality, not just theory. So whatever I'm gonna say in the next few minutes is actually something I experienced. So the first point that I prepared is, it has two parts. So if you're an aspiring remote partner, my first recommendation would be to check out and make sure that the company or the partner that you're going to be working with aligns with who you are and what your core values are, what your principles are, because that matters, especially in the marketing perspective. I've been in the marketing side since the longest time I can actually remember, because even before I went into the virtual world, I was already working on the marketing side because of the communication course that I took. So branding, the story, the core principles, it all matters in everything that you do, in all of the tasks that you work with, and the ideas that you think of, because it's where you anchor yourself in all of the things that you're doing with your company. So it's very important that your beliefs and your core principles actually align with who you're working with, because it gets tiring if you don't believe in what your company is working for, what your company stands for. So I totally love Cultivate Wins in the sense that I didn't just align and resonate with all of it. The thing is, for the second point, when you're already in that company, make sure that you try to put a little bit of yourself in those core principles as well, because you're already part of that company, of that team, and that team is not complete without you. So let the core, let the vision, let the principles grow, and add yourself in that manner. So it's all about the confidence that you have in yourself. So that leads me to the second point, that if you want, and you want that team to like be better and do better, you have to make sure that when you add value to your team and to the clients that your company serves, make sure that it's your best self. So that's where the self-improvement comes from. That's the second point. It's always a continuous journey. It's always a continuous learning. And there's so many possible things for you to check out. Like there's so many free courses, there's so many coaches right now. There's people who are working like here in the Philippines. I know so many communities that offer um community like groups
Yes.
that help everybody, empower everybody to not like we want to elevate the virtual assistant title. Like I know a community that has this vision that they want virtual assistants to also have the same like standard as doctors, as
Mhm.
attorneys, because it's basically a work that we build, and it's basically a work that we work like the level of what the level of I'm running out of English. The level of effort that we give and the level of learning that we have to do in this industry, it never stops. Just like
Yep.
those
Mm.
other professions as well. So a little bit about Cultivate Twins as well is the best thing that resonates with me with the 5x5 that David talks about is the compassion part. So I know that my first point, which is trying to find a company or a team that aligns with your core values, may not be applicable for everyone, because I know that some people need to earn money first before they actually consider these kinds of things.
Yes.
So in that sense, I want to empathize with them and I understand their situation. But the thing is, if you're in that situation, the point number two will actually help you out. While
Yep.
you're working on where you are right now, make sure that you develop your skills so that you can get to the point where you can actually find where you're supposed to be, where you fit in the remote working world. So it might be hard, but the thing is, if you want to get out of that toxic environment, or if you think that you're a misfit in the team, then you can always improve yourself. And then when you're ready to like explore other worlds or other teams, then you
Yes.
can eventually go there.
Good.
And then I'm sure David has a lot to say, but the last point before he like connects what Charity and I said or shared, the last point is actually about empowerment. There's a David is gonna love this. There's a video that we talk about where we talked about empowering your team. It's already in the YouTube channel of Cultivate Twins. But basically there we wanted to say to the leaders that one way to lead your people is to empower them. And at the back of that webinar, David and I talked, and I was saying that that was a very, very cool conversation and I really loved where it went. But I also realized that even though leaders are empowering their VAs, it's not gonna make sense, or it's not gonna have impact if the remote partner isn't willing to be empowered.
Yes.
So you have
Mhm.
to be ready in a sense to accept the empowerment, accept the core principles. So you have to be, it's all about the mindset. Are you really willing to embrace your partner and own your place in that business or not? Because if not, you have to maybe rethink and ask yourself again why you're doing this. Is it just about the money? Because if it is, maybe you have to change some mindset and some habits. I recommend that you talk to David. You're like gonna
I agree. I agree. I super agree with what you said, Casey. It's I love the first part that you mentioned about being grateful and aligning your values with the partner that you'll be working with, because I
Mhm.
remember when Clint, hi Clint, when Clint and I spoke about when this role was offered to work with Level. I remember that it really started with the relationship. When we were talking with each other, we realized that we have a common goal and we have common values. That's why we started building this, And yeah, I just totally agree with everything that you said, Cassie. And I have something to share about the last part that you
Please.
mentioned earlier. But that is for, for partners looking to hire remote partners later.
Okay.
But it's kind of related. And I'd like to elaborate on empowerment later on. So I'll give the
Okay.
floor to David first.
I'm having so much fun saying nothing and listening back. And Christine, you know me well enough. I'm also busting at the seams on how much I just want to dig into all of this too. So I will do the same thing I did with yours that I did with Charity. And that is I'm going to quickly summarize a couple things. And one is the first one you said, and I'm going to take what you said and maybe give my opinion on one thing that may push this a little farther than what you were thinking, and it may not, I don't know. But you said, work with someone that you align with. For me, you know, the direction I'm going to go to is does it align with your soul? Okay. Does it align with your soul? And so this point that I'm about to make kind of goes into your last point when you said that there are certain things where, or I'll even talk about second, gosh dang, yours all just line up together, but you're not just a task doer, okay? If you ever want to grow into other positions, you said that you respect that there are some people that may not be, in my own terms, may not have the luxury right now, okay?
That's the
The
word.
luxury to choose who their employer is going to be. They just need to get a job right now, okay?
Right.
Now, let's just say that we're past that. You have a job, you're working in a job, it's not your ideal job. We've all taken jobs that are not our ideal job, okay? Part of what you're saying, though, is the assumption that you're not going to just accept that as your end, okay? We're still having future hope. It's a mindset that we are still in personal development and growth stage, and that if we take our personal development and our growth seriously, we will, you know my phrase, earn the right. We will earn the right for something else. Now, when we have earned that right for something else, opportunities open to us. And when those opportunities are there and they're open to us, you now can put yourself, and that's the key. This is empowerment, guys. You can self-empower yourself to put yourself in a position that you actually no longer are the only one being interviewed. You are interviewing them. You get to determine, is this an organization that speaks to my soul and resonates with my soul and I want to be a part of? This isn't me interviewing Chrixy. Are you give me a break? Okay. Chrixy has worked on her personal development. She's worked on her skill set. She's worked on all of those things. So when I was interviewing Chrixy, I knew very well that this was not, it's just my decision whether I bring her aboard or not. She had earned the right to interview me as well and say, I don't know, I want to work with that old crazy dude. Okay. She had earned that right, but she's done the personal work. She's done that development. So understand that, yes, I get it that sometimes you may not be in that position yet. You need to be willing to do the work to earn the right to be in that position. And that has nothing to do with virtual assistant or remote partner. That's all of us. That's me as well. Okay. Anything that I want to do, I've either earned the right to get that position or I haven't. And if I've earned the right, I'm no longer in a position that I'm the one just being interviewed. The person I'm looking at, I'm interviewing too. And so, Chrixy, everything that you said, those three kind of worked side by side, working with someone that aligns with you, okay? Then you started point 2 with a single word. You didn't get back to that word, but I want to bring it back up. You said point 2, confidence. Confidence comes through you doing that personal work and that personal development and that skill development, those types of things that builds confidence in you. Continue to grow self-improvement, 5x5, the compassion, it was a big one for you. And the last one I do want to just applaud you on when you said empowerment, okay? Yes. As a leader in our organization, the way I lead, we don't all have to lead the same way, but my choice of leadership style is to empower my people. That doesn't mean a hill of beans, doesn't mean anything if the person I'm trying to empower doesn't accept that empowerment as well. So that you wanted to bring that point up. And I love that you said that, because that is our daily practice. Not everybody works in that environment. You work in that environment. I work in that environment. But my leadership style isn't going to work for everybody, because not everybody will accept that empowerment and put themselves into our organization. Some people still have the mindset, I'm just a task doer. I'm here to do a task. What's the task you want me to do?
Right.
If you're not the type of leader that can just give me a task list, it's probably not a good fit. Okay. So I love that you said it's not just about me empowering you. It's about the remote partner being willing to accept that type of empowerment. I find that very powerful. So both of you, you're both killing me right now with all these points. So I love them. 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 So Charity, you said there was something that you wanted to share, but you were going to hold off. So give me some of your other, what else did you bring to the table today?
Yeah, because when I and this is I am sharing this experience because this is my daily experience, you know, with working with Clint. So
Yes.
I closely work with Clint, as you all know. And when I started, I had that mindset, a different mindset, wherein, you know, I'll be here to do whatever you ask me to do.
Yep.
And at some point when I started working with Clint, I slowly got that feeling of, hey, somebody trusts me, you know. I always love it when he tells me, when I ask him a question and he tells me, Charity, I trust you. That's it. He won't tell me any answer. He won't tell me what to do, but he'll just say, I trust you. And that's a very big thing to me, that really you know, empowers me. But just like what Chrixy said, it's not gonna be you know, it's not it should be a two-way, you know, you should be open to being empowered. Because, you know, all those push, all those mentoring, because I also do mentoring with Clint. So we do have leadership training and all. And, you know, I remember my mom telling me when I think it was already my first year working with Level. My mom told me, oh, Charity, you're already Americanized. I even don't know what that means.
Oh boy.
What she meant was that I have a different way of looking at things, you know. And slowly I realized that, hey, I am indeed, you know, growing. I look at things differently. And the only way that you can look the only way that, you know, you can see things differently is to be open to, you know, to be mentored, to be trained, to be empowered, that there are a lot of things that you can do, and that there are people who trust that you can do them. So I just wanted to share that, because I really love, you know, how how lucky I am to be in, you know, in partner with a great person who's not just willing, you know, to just you know, give me that comfort of working from home, but also sharing the knowledge, sharing the wisdom. I'd always tell Clint, and I think I told you this, David, too, that you guys have beautiful minds. And thank you for sharing that to us, because, you know, I think it also is, you know, the way we think, it's because of the culture. You know, we have different cultures, but, you know, those remote partners out there, you know, find the right partner for you and work with them and grow in their values. I think you're gonna reach, you know, you're gonna soar high, and you'll see yourself, you know, years from now, that, you know, you are achieving, you know, a lot of things that you never imagined you can achieve. I mean, uh, I even asked Clint at some point, you know, when we were, I think our second year, when we were in our second year, I even asked Clint, hey, do I deserve this? I asked him that. And he made me realize that, you know, again, empowering, very, very empowering. He empowered me and let me know that, there you are here because of the work that you have put in this, in yourself and in the business. And at the same time, you have been, I think one of the things that I also would like to add is that just be comfortable being uncomfortable, for me, growth is very uncomfortable. And I say this out loud because there are a lot of moments in my journey as a remote partner that I was very uncomfortable. And I will just be reminded that, hey, you're uncomfortable because you are going past this growth zone. You are growing. And I just love that. I talk a lot. Sorry, I'm very passionate about what we're talking about. But yeah, I mean,
Chrixy and I love it,
I-
so we're all good. I do
But
want to,
yeah.
I want to make sure that you're getting, there's credit where credit is due, okay? So I do want to put you in check on one word that you've said, only because number one, you said it, but number two, you've said it multiple times. And I can't, I know you well enough to know I don't agree with it, okay? And that is the word lucky. I would change that in your vocabulary to blessed.
Okay. All right. That's
Here's why.
better.
Yeah, here's why. Because I know you and I know the work that you've done. You haven't gotten lucky. You've put the work in. You didn't get lucky like you just got an opportunity, and you just got lucky because you've got these opportunities, and you just got lucky because you were empowered this way or that way. You have truly put the work in, and you have earned the right to be blessed with those things.
Thank
Okay,
Thank you.
so that's what I see in real time.
That's I mean, I'm gonna use that word moving forward. My vocabulary, I always tell this to
Yep.
clients, like, my vocabulary is not that broad. Like when
Yeah.
he asked me, how are you? I'm good. And then he would tell me, don't you know other words other than, good? Well,
I
I
love how
don't
he
have.
asked that second question.
Well, I'm going to
Really?
stop
I
you
think-
there. When we talk about this, here's what's beautiful. I love that this just came up because I don't think a lot of people realize, and I don't know how you take this. So, and I'm totally open to this, is that I can be
No, you're.
I can be critiqued too, is that I truly believe that some of these words that I'm correcting has nothing to do with your vocabulary and has nothing to do with your culture.
Mhm.
This is in the US as much as it is between our two cultures.
Mhm.
I am really looking at what people do on a day-to-day basis and comparing it to the words that they're actually using, and they don't always align. They literally don't align. So this
Right.
is not a charity thing, and charity needs a larger vocabulary. You know the word blessed and you know the word
Yes.
lucky. And the person that lives 2 blocks down the street from me who has earned the right to say that right now they're in a blessed situation is still using the vocabulary that, boy, did I get lucky. No, you didn't. So I would have this same conversation. This has nothing to do with our language between
Where you are.
cultures.
Yeah.
It has to do with how we resonate with the message that we're giving in our soul. And I know the work that you've done. And so I'm
Thank
almost
you.
forcing you to take credit for what I know you have completely earned and been
Thank
blessed
you.
and been blessed with. So I love that that point came up because I do think it's a valid point. But yeah, definitely. So, all
But
right.
yeah,
So go on with the leadership side. Is I think everything that you said, someone who is going to be a remote partner versus someone that is going to be leading that person, I think everything that you just said really goes on both sides. Very, very.
yes, yes. So yeah, I mean, moving on, I mean, just like what you said, they're both connected.
Mhm.
So when I was putting down or typing down my notes about, what can I share
Yeah.
to those partners looking for a remote partner. First, it's obvious with the words that you said, on how you use the word remote partners instead of a virtual assistant.
Yeah.
Prior to you saying that, I typed in here that a partner should be looking for a partner, not a task doer.
Yeah.
I
Love it.
love that.
Love it.
Yes. Thank you. And I'm gonna base it again on the conversations that I have with different, partners in the US, that, this is a partnership.
Yeah.
You have to look for someone who can work with you and help you, not only grow your business but also help you grow personally, because this person that you will be hiring, as your partner, will give you back some of your time, which will give you time, to also have self development. I think that's one of the things that some partners, who are looking for remote partners, does not have right now, is the luxury of time.
Okay.
So that's the first point I have, is don't just look for a task doer.
Yeah.
We're not task doers. We can definitely help you. We're partners. We're gonna work together, and
Mm.
because if you're looking for a task doer, it might not, the relationship might not be there, because you're looking at a remote partner as someone who's just gonna do this and that's it.
Yep.
But if you're looking for a partner, there's more of like, a lot of, if I should say, personal involvement.
Mm.
There's an attachment, there is a relationship when you start with that. And then I think my next point is, while you are looking for that, or I think before even looking for a partner, is you have to be ready by building a process and trusting the process,
Agreed.
right?
Totally.
Yeah. Because
How many
you
memories
cannot.
coming back to me?
Yes, I mean, you cannot hire, a remote partner without a plan, without a process,
Mm.
because you have to build a process. There should be a plan, there should be
Yep.
a goal on why you are hiring. you know um you have to see this person as a partner, as a contributor to your company's growth, because unless you have built that, process, and you are confident about the process that you have built for this
Yep.
person before this person
Yep.
comes in, you won't be able to trust this person. You won't be able to trust a hire, any other hire, not even, not just a remote partner, but even, a hire in the office. If you don't have a process, you'll always be in that position wherein you are always, not confident on what they do. But
Yep.
if if you are confident about the process that you have built to bring
Yep.
that person to in that position where you want them to be, then there shouldn't be any. I don't see any problem. And then
Okay.
the last
I have
point
to
I have is,
wait before you go on to
sure.
that last point. I have to just tell you, because I know Chrixy and I are bursting at the seams right now. Because Chrixy, is she not resonating with us on every point right
So
now?
much. So much. Every point.
Thank
So
you, thank
I love
you.
it, because you're Charity. You're not in our day to day. I mean, you know nothing about our day to day,
I just
and
love
it's like,
listening.
yeah, it's just like you're preaching our message. It's so great, because this is us every day, all day long. And this is the way we think. This is the way we talk. I don't believe in hiring a task doer. You hire for a role.
Yes.
You don't hire a task doer. What is the role that you are hiring? Okay. I won't go on. I just want to so bad, but I won't. I won't. Give me your third point. But you are resonating with Chrixy and I quite a bit.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Yep.
The last point I put in here is, be patient. for those who are hiring a remote partner, be patient.
Mhm.
Understand that in order for your remote partner to be where you want them to be, they need your guidance. Every business runs differently. They might know, they might have the relevant experience, but they still need you.
Yeah.
They need to be trained. You need to spend time with them. Excuse me. Treat them like any other hire. It for me it connects with the second one that I said. Build and trust the process and
Yeah.
be patient. I'm not saying to wait for a year, you know, but you have to look into you
Yeah.
have to look into um you know the learning curve of the person. Look into
Agree.
the potential. Look into Thank you. Look into what this person can contribute and what her or his strongest skill sets are, and work with that. Sometimes um we just look we are we narrow down a lot of things. Some partners, they narrow down a lot of what they want in a role without really considering that, hey, this is a person that you are hiring, meaning they can grow, they can
Mhm.
evolve, they can definitely exceed the expectations that you have for them. You just need to invest the
Mhm.
time, to get to know them, to
Yep.
be patient. You might be uncovering, a gem. You might be working with a gem, just like Chrissy here.
Okay, so here's the deal is now I'm stopping you. Now you're going off on crazy land. So here's the deal is, Chrissy, I want to give you kind of the opportunity to close us out with your 3 points, but I want to share one phrase that resonates with me on the patient part that you were talking about. You talked about the fact is that kind of pay attention and notice their skill sets and everything else like that. Okay. But you also said be patient, and being patient, helping them to grow and making opportunities to grow available. So here's the way my head works is it's these 2 lines. If any leaders want to write this down and throw this on a post-it and throw it on your computer, beat it into your head. But for the people that you're leading, think about the aspect of leaning into their strengths,
Mhm.
lean into their strengths while supporting their
They're
growth. Lean into their strengths while supporting their growth. Be patient.
Mhm.
Okay. Invest in your
Love it.
people. Invest
Love
in
it.
your people. Okay. Chrissy, what do you got to share? What do you
Actually,
got
all of
for us?
Charity and I didn't talk before
Yeah,
this,
no, I
I
didn't.
swear. So, but basically, all of the points that I listed down resonates with each of the bullet point that Charity shared. So I might just share it in a short and sweet manner. For example,
Okay.
I divided it into 2 again. So there's gonna be a point for before those who
Yep.
are looking for
Okay.
remote partners, and then when you find the partner, what to do next. So in the before part, it resonates with the first bullet of Charity as well. So um it's about empowerment, the confidence. What I basically wrote in here is let them ask the questions. When you
Mhm.
do the interview, let them ask the questions. In a sense that it will either go 2 ways. The remote partner asks away because they're confident enough, or you have to like guide them into asking you the question, giving them the
Yes.
space, making them feel safe that this is an interview, it's a conversation actually, that we get
Yeah.
to know each other and what you can provide and what I can provide for you. And this is where the do your onboarding plan please takes into place. There's so I can talk about that for days. Like literally my experience with partners who had challenges in that area. I can talk about that for days. But just for the sake of time, I'm not gonna go deep into that. But basically when you do the interview, you have to be prepared. And when you ask all of your questions or maybe in between them, give the space to your remote partner as well. You're gonna be meeting them on a daily basis, so why not get to know the person already? And
Exactly.
again, I wanted to emphasize that it's either you let them just talk because they're confident enough, or you guide them into talking. Because
Yes.
when I did my first interview with a potential partner, I can't it's always gonna be in my mind. I just basically let them ask me and then I answer. It was like
Yeah.
a quiz, a recitation, and I was like, when that was finished, I'm like, what just happened? Did I just have a quiz? And I
Yep.
was I was in college back then, so now I'm a very different person. If David can remember, I asked him a lot of questions when we were doing
Yep.
the interview, because I also wanted what I was going
Yeah.
entering, like putting myself into. So the two different versions
And
of
as a
Chrixy
leader,
exist.
that impressed me. That completely impressed me. Absolutely impressed me as someone that I'm going to ask a bunch of questions and they turn it and they're asking me a ton of questions in the interview. Are you kidding me? I was all about that. I loved
I
it.
totally love that that conversation. It felt like a conversation rather than an interview. And I
Mhm.
think when both parties feel that it's a conversation, that's a big win. So
Yeah.
that's one goal that you have to think about. And it resonates with what Charity says, that it's only going to happen if you're ready with your plan and your onboarding and what you
Yes.
actually need.
Yeah.
Then the conversation is going to flow smoothly. And then the two other points is, when you finally found the gem that you want to shine into your company, let them give what they can give. And
Mm.
Charity basically explained everything about that. Let them give what they can give.
Yep.
And they're not going to be able to give what they can give if you don't have a plan for them. So it
Yeah.
all goes back to that.
Mhm.
It all
Yep.
goes back to what's your roadmap? What do you really want to do? What role did you hire that person for? And if that in place, I think they're gonna be able to grow and find the space and self-develop, and then
Yeah.
of course make. It's also a very important, very quick note. It's very important, especially in the marketing people, for the marketing people, to always make sure that you're up to date with the trends. That's gonna help you know what you can provide for the business and for your partner. So self empowerment, self improvement, and of course continuous learning. And then that's all gonna be put into waste if your partner doesn't allow you to give what you can give. So it's always a
Yes.
two-way
Love
big
it.
win.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
And then the last is basically also the last part that Charity mentioned, but in my own verbiage, I just said, provide them with the opportunity to grow, not just professionally, but also personally.
Yeah.
And in Cultivate Wins, when I went into the business with David, I knew that I was gonna grow super big in terms of my professional aspect, but I didn't. What amazed me is how much I grew in my personal life as well, especially since I'm gonna be married by
Wow,
this December. So
congratulations.
I'm totally growing as a person who's totally ready for family life and marriage, because that's one of David's
Oh,
favorite topics. So giving me the opportunity to grow as a creative person, as a marketing person, and then giving me the opportunity to grow as a better person, I'm never gonna leave his side. And if you want that kind of
mm,
statement to be said by your virtual partners, by your remote partners, then you have to make sure that they have opportunities for growth in the professional personal side. So
right.
all of it aligns with what you've been sharing.
I love it. Congratulations. Best
Thank
wishes,
you.
Chrissy. I'm excited for
It's
you.
the greatest. It's the
And
greatest.
David knows my fiance as well. He's friends
Yes.
with Paolo in in Facebook. That's how
Oh,
much he's been
I
providing the
love it.
opportunity for me.
So I'm going to share one statement because there's no way you can kind of talk about that side of things. And I'm not going to say is Chrixy knows that a big part of kind of what we talk about at Cultivate Wins is that at least one of my personal goals, and since it's my company, my personal goals seem to come out in my company, obviously, which is this is my goal is who I am sometimes is who I am all the time. So we're going to build everything off of core foundational principles. So if it's a core foundational principle, the reason why it brings value to me is I don't want principles that work in my business and then I've got to find some principles that work in my marriage. I want core foundational principles that I could take the exact same principle and it would make me better in my business and it would make me a better husband. And so that's part of what Chrixy is alluding to here is it's pretty easy for me to talk about any of our core concepts and principles and relate it to my marriage. Because if it isn't going to make me a better husband, I probably don't have the time of day for it and probably just don't care that much about it. So that is very important to us. But I want to jump back, Chrixy, and just bring up something that you had talked about on the previous 3 points, but you brought back up again here. Okay. The way you originally said it, I want to pull out because I don't know in some of our summaries and the rest of this conversation that I think it got the volume and the value or the attention that it deserved. You said that as a VA, virtual assistant, or remote partner, whatever anybody wants to call it, is to take your growth as seriously as any other career takes their seriousness of growth, whether it be a doctor, whether it be a lawyer, whether it be anything. Oh my gosh, yes. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. I'm not hiring a task doer. I don't want task doers. I want nothing to do with building a team of task doers. As a leader, not only do I want to find someone that thinks that way and has that mindset that you shared there, okay, but as a leader, if you don't desire that, that's something I would encourage the leaders. Is we're talking about, and I think both of you have done a great job of kind of about talking about, one of the points for the person being hired would be to care about and think about your personal growth. As a leader, give me a break, guys. Come on. Some of these areas, you're a control freak. You can't let go. You're a control freak. You're not going to let their real talents show because you want to control their talents rather than accentuate them and empower them. Okay. So if there's areas that you're hearing in some of this and going, well, that's just not kind of who I am and that doesn't resonate with me. Yeah, but should it? Don't worry about whether every aspect as a leader that every one of these resonates. Don't ask if some of this stuff resonates with you. The one that's probably most important for you to get out of this conversation today are the ones that don't resonate with you. If they don't resonate with you, ask yourself, should it? And if it should, do your own personal growth and put the work in to change and grow as a human being. And as a leader, I'm never looking to go and watch one of these types of videos and stuff. And I just can't wait to watch the video that agrees with everything that I think. Okay, come on, give me a break. I'm looking for the ones that, okay, there's a couple things in there that resonates. That doesn't resonate. That doesn't resonate. And what I get excited about is asking, why doesn't it resonate? And should it resonate with me? So that is where I would challenge the leaders today. When we talk about you're thinking virtual assistants, or you're thinking this, or you're thinking task doer, anything in this video doesn't resonate, focus more on that. Take more notes on that. Study more about that. Study about the things in this video that don't resonate with you rather than the things that do resonate with you, and work on your own personal growth. Now, God bless both of you for talking about the person that's going to be employed and all their personal growth. I'm talking to the leaders about their personal growth. God bless you. We love you all. But I do want to point that out at the end. That would kind of be my takeaway from listening to everything that you guys said. I would love to go back and listen to this. I tried to stop a little bit halfway through because I was almost missing things because I was so busy taking notes on things that you guys were saying. But I just want to thank both of you. Huge. You're both a huge blessing in my life.
Thank you.
And I honestly believe that this is going to touch someone's spirit. It's going to touch their soul. It's going to help them grow both personally and professionally. I'm not interested in one growth without the other. Okay. Just who we are sometimes is who we are all the time. And I think you guys have both given some amazing points that could be applied personally and professionally. And I want to thank you for that approach.
Thank
So.
you.
Thank
I
you
had super
for this
fun.
opportunity. Me
I had
too.
so much fun.
I was
This is not
telling
gonna be the
Chrissy
last
like
one.
I was
Nope.
telling Chrissy, that I was nervous, and Chrissy just told me, just it's just a I mean, once we start the conversation, it's just gonna be a
Yep.
conversation. Well, I really enjoyed everything, the hour, I really do. And thank you for the opportunity, David and Chrissy, for letting me be part of this.
All right. I'm going to sign out, everybody. Everybody, thank you. Chrissy's going to edit this out and we'll get her up on YouTube, and we'll put everybody's contact information for the organizations. I do want people to know who is blessed to have charity on their team, and that is Level. So we'll put their contact information down below as well. Tons of love. Love you guys.
Thanks, David
Yeah,
and
have a
Chrissy.
good day, everyone.
Bye.